Hi everyone, and welcome to this broadcast where I invited Nille and Troels, and as they were supposed to write what they want to be called, I said, write that you're the cool couple, because you are the couple who took my leadership training and used it for an upgrade both professionally and personally and as a couple, as a relationship. So I wanted to interview you about that process. And maybe you can start by introducing yourself so we know a little bit more about who you are and why you decided to take a future leadership training. So maybe we start with the ladies first.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes,
and
you're so welcome.
For the program. It was awesome. Yeah, a little bit more about me. I'm an artist. I worked as an artist for almost 25 years. I live with Troels and we have 8 kids together. And I just established my new studio called Co-Creator Studio. So that is very short what I'm doing and personally, yeah.
Cool in itself to be an artist who takes leadership training. We'll hear more about that. And you, Troels?
I used to be a leader, but I'm not anymore. I worked in sports and football for 35 years, I believe. And I changed my line of work because I realized over the years my main interest developed from the game to the players to the way we play together and cooperation. So I now do well, not the same as you, definitely not the same, but in the same line of work. I try to inspire leaders to develop their own leadership for the benefit of not only themselves, but for whoever they're working with. And the reason why I signed up, well, the main reason was to become more inspired in my own work and more revitalized in my views on how to develop leadership. And I had it, but I had so much more.
This is so interesting. So you signed up. So we want to hear you sign up to get inspired about your profession, get revitalized about your own leadership, because sometimes as mentors and consultants and we need some fresh air and fresh perspectives. So a natural thing to do. But you as an artist, Nille, what were you thinking? Why did you sign up? Why did you sign up for a leadership training? Of all the things you could have chosen, why a leadership training as an artist? I would like to just get that established before we move on.
Yeah, that's a good question. I followed some of your courses before, which are in a very personal level, like upgrading my femininity. But I wanted to take the leadership course because I felt that there was something that some sort of a longing. And I have for many years in my practice as an artist had like sort of 2 lines in that. So one is like the artistic practice with the materials and my research area, which is the space between my material and me and people and me. So I wondered why do I continuously eat so much cereals? Why am I willing to eat cereals in that scale for this? Is it just to do like beautiful walls? I'm not sure that if it was only that, I would have been willing to eat that much cereal. But then I wondered, then why is it? And it's all about the what do you say it? How do you say erkenntnisse in English?
Insights and
The
realizations.
Yeah, I get from doing the work. That is why I do it. So, but that was like for my own. And I wanted to combine that. I wanted to go next level and sort of merge those two things. But I didn't know how to, and it felt like there was this glass roof and I couldn't go to that next level. So that was why I chose to be on that leadership training, to get some sort of hold and support to go there to that next level that I felt was like there. Yeah.
So this is very, I stress this point because I think the new leadership can come from everywhere. It can come from the sports world, it can come from the artistic world, it can come from anywhere. And the new leadership is not the same as in the old days. We got a leadership title and then we were leaders. Leadership is really unfolding the best of humanity, what's inside, what we can access that AI can never ever access. So that's why I really acknowledge you for stepping up as an artist and saying there's more, and I can bring more to the world than just beauty and creativity. I can bring something forth. I can birth something that the world really needs, and I want to give myself the opportunity of being in an incubator that can help me birth that. That's how I saw your stepping up into this leadership training, and I really want to mention that because a lot of people out there might have the same aspiration, but not the courage to really say, yes, I want to do that. And so to just inspire those, did you get that? Did you get that?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's not that first day, boom, and then you're just on the roll. Actually, it takes time and space and support to stay in that space of, what do you say, nothingness, so something can enter. What really wants to happen can enter.
Yeah, and for that, it's I mean, I think that it's interesting. We can offer each other spaces to do that. So that's why, you know, in English, my that program that you're using is called Illumina Leadership Incubator, because it's actually about having that space, having a space where you can, where you have time and the right energy and the right temperature and the right support to birth the new. And I think that's the process humanity is in. So let's hear about Troels. You were saying before you entered because of that professional reason, but you got so much more. And we want to hear about that point because it was also quite special that you entered the program as a couple. And you know, what was the purpose of entering it as a couple? You could have taken each one a different course.
Well, I think the idea and the proven benefit of it was that whatever we learned, whatever you taught us during the sessions and the weekly meetings, well, hadn't we been doing this together, it might have been, you know, one touch point a week, and then maybe not that easily kept alive from session to session. Now we had both the same teaching and the same exercises, and that made us able to more consistently use it and talk about and use the language that followed with the teaching. I believe, well, I know for myself, it helped me incorporate it much more rather than being my own disciplinary teacher from week to week. So in that sense, I believe we chose that as a purpose, and we definitely had it. But next to that, of course, being a couple also sometimes, it's not an easy course. It's not like you just roller coaster down the course, and it's not a free ride. And definitely it wasn't for me. So being a couple, it also challenged the dynamics of our couple. And well, for me, also the dynamics in me. And of course, being as close as we are, whatever moved in me would move Nille. So it was definitely challenging, definitely a test in many ways. But as you see, and I know you have noticed it during the course, whatever tested us and for a while might have more or less amplified the differences between us, it has risen us to a new level of well, is that a word in English? Togetherness? But I believe so, yeah. So as a couple, it has been, now maybe Nille will say it differently, but for me, it has been definitely unifying in a totally new way.
So beautiful that you say that, because I remember that you also, when we talked in the beginning, you also actually wanted more unification. You didn't want one to evolve to a new level and then leaving the other at a different, so you live in two different paradigms, two different levels of consciousness. And I also remember that, in Danish, I talk about the 7 new rules for 21st century leadership, and you thought it was smart that you play by the same rules instead of 2 different sets of rules. And so I think that was smart of you to do that. And of course, every time we want to rise to a new level, all the things that are not at that level will rise, and we need to deal with them. So you did that personally, and then you had that couple in your couplehood as well. So of course you were majorly challenged in a way that the other people who didn't bring their spouse were not. But then you got double benefit, which was very smart.
Yeah, definitely. And if any other couple would consider, I hope they will, and I hope they will sign up. If they consider signing up, well, I have to say it's not necessarily like, well, in the ideal world, we will develop in the same speed. In our case, it's not going to happen because I have a very advanced wife. So I'm trying to keep up as good as I can. But I believe if it's not a competition, it's not like you have to be at the same level all the time, but being inspired by you and by my wife definitely helped me growing and developing faster than I would have done on my own.
Yeah, it's interesting for men because it's actually my leadership training is very much about adding what I call the feminine part that has been missing in leadership and life for a long time. I mean, of course, it hasn't been completely missing, but in leadership, it has been subordinate from the masculine. So we've said action, rationality, focus, bottom line first. And, you come from the football world, so it's just like, get that ball into the goal. That's very goal-oriented. And the leadership training I'm offering is a lot about adding what is missing from that paradigm, which is the whole yin paradigm or feminine paradigm. And so it's also, I think, for men an opportunity to enter into a more, to activate the feminine within themselves and actually to get to understand the feminine outside of themselves much better. And I think you were incredibly courageous to step into something that was so different from the world and really, really immersing yourself in that process and being open-minded and experimenting with all these new tools that are sometimes like really different from what the tools yourself. But then to see you really, it's just been so beautiful to witness what happened to you as a man, because I think that what happened to you was that you got added so much of your own yin that you became a much more masculine man. Don't you think, Nille? It's like interesting to see that expansion, that to get those double powers is so much more attractive than if we just are man and woman, and you take care of the feminine and you take care of the masculine.
I really like the way you expressed it with adding more of my own yin, because it's not imposing on men something that is not already there. It's awakening something that I might not have been aware of. And I would have wished, I don't know if this is a recommendation for anybody else, any men, but I would have wished I have done this earlier, before my testosterone level was dropping, because now it's easier for me. I'm not in that testosterone storm anymore. But I believe it would have been very useful dynamics for me at an earlier stage. Not regretting it, but I think it's a recommendation. If you're younger than 100 years, please start. It's worth it.
Yeah, because the most beautiful in a man is actually a little bit of the feminine, and the most beautiful in a woman is a little bit of the masculine. That's it's not, that's the new way of being a conscious couple and a conscious team and a conscious leader is to know that we actually all have both, and we need to activate both sides. I mean, I think you, Nille, who work in a very yin-oriented way in your daily life, I mean, you birthed a concept that was very structured and very, like, you birthed a new world that is very, a house, like a house of procreation first, like really manifested, boom, 4 walls and people coming into your house and people traveling from far away to come and co-create all kinds of things in your studio. But then you also manifested or really birthed like a new concept that's very, very structured, like a new structure for creation. So you got added, you got like awakened some of your masculine in the process. So it's not that we can say that we cannot say what the process does to people, but just that it's there to awaken the dormant resources and get them to a new level. So you also got a little bit more oomph, I think. Don't you think? Didn't you admire Nille's process? Told you were all like, hallelujah.
How likely am I to say no? But definitely, and we're sitting in the studio right now. I mean, 140 something square meters of co-creation. You can actually feel it as you go in here. So yeah, I do admire the effort you've done.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that you speak about that. I do like work in like have a master in the feminine way, but it's funny that even though I have worked with that for so many years, I'd still have the doubt if it was okay. No, we have like this paradigm, we have like built up this paradigm that it's only valuable, it's the masculine traits. So really believing and lean into the quality of the feminine. You speak about having the yin foot first. It actually matters, and it matters when you start to believe that it is worthy, that you are worthy when you do it. You don't need to measure your being and your doing in 2 different scales, because that split I had for many, many years. And now it's like I have like only one thing to measure up to, which is the new way of thinking. And what really came to mind, maybe after, is that we really need to learn how to co-create. We now we co-create in another scale, which is more like a dance. It's like the DNA string is like spinning up. Before it was like supporting and supporting and supporting, so it was like 2 strings. But the beauty actually comes, and I think the world really needs that, is finding out how can we co-create with the dynamics of the masculine and the feminine. So we have a great opportunity to practice and to find the blind spots in the process with you, and get supported, and like me not going down and feeling unworthy, insisting on something, but really like being also pushed to really stand up to it. And that is what I'm doing here. What I'm trying to do is make a place where, first of all, you can be who you are here. Start with that. You are already enough just by being, and you need to realize that. And then you enter the noise in your head. You realize you have all this noise in your head. And then you have space to sort of quiet down the noise. When this noise disappears, we are not used to being without the noise. Then it gets really scary, because then emptiness appears, right? And we are so scared of that because we're not used to it. We're not brought up that way. We can always feel something in. But when you allow that emptiness to expand, then something really magical happens. And that is what you can also co-create with. And I think that is the beauty. That is the beauty of co-creation, is that you co-create with all the levels you have in you, and you co-create with what is, and you co-create with like this bigger perspective also.
Can I add something to it? Because
Yeah.
I was just wondering, I hope I listened, but I also heard my own voice. Some of our colleagues on the course, men, felt a little bit insecure and sometimes maybe reluctant to embrace the yin part, the feminine part. But I believe if you look wide, it's not like it's just invented from you out of the blue. It's actually leaning on the shoulders of, well, Greenleaf's servant leadership, or Amy Edmondson's psychological safety, and all of these things that now is considered basic knowledge in leadership. They are very easily expressed, or rather, I believe, much more efficiently expressed by using more of your feminine power. I've seen these tools really conducted by over masculine leaders in a way that is more manipulative than truly the essence of it. So I found that it's much easier to get the full potential out of these tendencies after having been on your course.
Yeah, you're right about that. That if it's not real, if authenticity is not real, it's actually worse to pretend you're authentic than to not just be like you are. And you know, so I see a lot of leaders that go on these theoretical courses, and they come out and they think they know about psychological safety. They think they know about purposeful leadership. They think they know about regenerative leadership and all these things, ESG leadership, and so on and so on. But no, if you haven't been through the washing machine and really integrated it in your own system, it doesn't count. It's just theory, and people react not to theory but to energy. So this is why you sit here as powerful examples of somebody who's actually integrated. You've actually gone through the process. What you're describing there, Nille, you actually went through that process yourself, and then that's why you can now speak not about but from that place. And I think this is the big difference. And I think it's very important that to realize this difference, that it's not the same. So when you say it was not necessarily always a very pleasant course, in the sense that some of the stuff that was, some of the stuff that was brought up was not so nice to look at, but because you were held, you were forced to go through it. You couldn't just escape when it came out. Because I'm like, no. You can do a 9-month course. You come right back here. I think some of you tried to escape at some point. Was like, no, come back in the same room, and then we work through it. And that's what we need to do as humanity. We need to work through what's difficult instead of running away or doping ourselves with whatever we can dope ourselves. We need to push through, because on the other side there's light and insight and a new level. And this is what you demonstrated so beautifully, both as individuals and as a couple. And then, I think some people might say, so this is the leadership part where you it's actually, that's why leadership and couple therapy is actually linked, because in the new leadership you need to use your whole self. You can't just use the head or play emotional intelligence or play collective intelligence. No, you need to use your whole self, and you need to use it at a different level of consciousness. So that's the leadership part, getting more integrity, being more authentic, and being it truly. But as a couple, you also could have gone to couples therapy. And so I think it's interesting if you can talk about what's the difference between going, I think you have tried that as well, right? Most couples today have. As 40 years old. What's the difference between couples therapy and taking a leadership training as a couple?
I think one of the major differences is that one, you are in this leadership course because of your professional life.
Mm.
Two, you are there we were there as a couple, and you are there as the person you are.
Mm.
And you see all three parts.
Mm.
And you shine the light on every three part. So when we struggled in the course, then you did not only go into the couple dynamic, but you also went into working with us with the internal dynamic. So we had many levels, and you also pointed out how can you use that in your work. So everything was sort of, it's not like the private and the work. It's not about work-life balance. It's about the feeling of wholeness, and I would almost say holiness of being. So you really hold you're very, very good at really focus on, now we are one-on-one. Now you are on Nille. Now you are on the couple version, and now you are on the work version. And this is how it sort of merge. And how can you go up instead of down there from there? And I think that's really a big difference. What we experienced, maybe we just had experience with that, but what I realized when we were in therapy, couple therapy, is that it's only about one dynamic. And you never get supported in, yeah, you're right, for you it's wrong, this is wrong, or it's not as sharp. I think this is much sharper, because you're supported for the person that you are. That is maybe the best way I can say it.
I've actually gone through a lot of different kinds of couple therapy with my now beloved ex. And, when we always got these tools like, okay, go home and do that. But then, we would do it for 3 days and then we would stop. And then, of course, the tool didn't really work. And I think one of the things that is good about being in an incubator together is that there's a follow-up all the time, weekly. And there's and you see the other course attendants using the tools. So then you get inspired to also, you see the difference that happens to them, the transformation that happens to the other participants using the tools. So then you get inspired to also use them. So you're sort of held in a larger pot than just your own little couplehood, where the old dynamics quickly take over. Oh, you never walk your talk, or you never whatever it is that the couples therapy, couples dynamics is. So I think that would have made a big difference for us if we would have been in a health container. And another thing that I'm in touch with, and that I know from the zillion different modalities we tried in our relationship, is that sometimes you're not able to use, let's see, be in integrity or authenticity, which are some of the facets that are part of my training. Sometimes that's not possible before you have gone through a personal inner transformation, because your own patterns, your own wiring makes it impossible for you to show up in integrity. So I think that's what is good about being in a personal transformation process at the same time, that you need to transform so that you are able to deliver what you need to deliver in the relationship. And so So I'm just reflecting on that as I sit, because I never had a couple who take my training. So I'm just excited about you being pioneers for that. And I really saw through you what it could do to go through a journey together where you both work on the individual, the relationship, and your professional at the same time. It was very beautiful to witness. And actually, Troels is now also working in his own way with co-creation, because he's working with teamership, which is also co-creation. So now you mirror each other in a whole new level, with your purpose being also aligned in some way, but you live it through your own couplehood and in yourself with your. So I think it's really beautiful, and I'm so grateful really to you for being so courageous. As a couple, of course, it's a double investment, so it's also something you really have to want. But it's been really beautiful to witness. I mean, I have seen with you guys what is possible for a couple, and I can see, so the investment is big in the moment, but I think you have made an investment that you can reap the return on investment from now on, right? Would you say it's not something that just stops? It's just like you're on a new track together.
Definitely.
And on a higher level, I mean, both of you, I think, will also be able to attract. Like, you have created a whole different level of your professionalism. You were great before, but now you're even greater. So that will also put your professionalism at a different level.
I think one of the things that really is for me feels different now is that this defending the ego has disappeared, more or less. And that actually gives a whole new level of security in what I do and where I stand, both in my work, but also as a person, and also in our relationship. It seems like there is not so much danger anymore, right? And that maybe sounds weird, or but when you sort of ruin this ego-based, when you not work from ego anymore, then most of what happens is all right.
Yeah, that's a big relief. And maybe I should explain to people that we work on two axes, the masculine, feminine, and the ego essence axis. And so you definitely also made a huge upgrade there. I mean, my goddess. Yeah.
So it's really like, you it's like practice for the mind, because there is so much knowledge you get in this program, but it's also really good training base for developing your consciousness. You really can like expand consciousness in this program. I really think both took some steps up there.
Not only co-creation, but co-consciousness.
Wow.
Co-consciousness. Yeah. No, it's really inspiring, and I'm so grateful that you showed us what's possible. We live in a time where we need to make change happen fast, because I mean, look at AI, for example, how it evolves exponentially faster and faster. And that's the same thing with climate problems, ecocide, all those problems we have. So we don't have time as humans to stand still or just go about doing the same old, because it will not suffice in a new era. So I also really honor you for being front runners of a new paradigm where we expand our human resources. I mean, truly, our natural intelligence, our human resources are cosmic intelligence, you know, our universal intelligence, because that's the only way we can compete with AI. Otherwise, we are irrelevant in a couple of years. So you have really taken some pioneering steps. And I love that you can now, through your being, show a different way of being professional, an individual, and a couple. So we will look out for you. You should have written your, I will write your last name so people can find you, Nille Troels Bech. Right? So people can follow what's going to happen with, because now we know that you embody the new. And that's what we're going to look for, you know, who embodies the new kind of leadership. Because it's not enough to talk about it. You have to embody it for it to count. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for showing up and telling us about it. I'm so grateful for that. It's a big pleasure for me. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us.
So my work, the reward I get is to witness transformation, and that is invaluable. It's the best thing. It's like it's better than candy or whiskey or anything else. It's really it makes it worth the long time it took for me to get these tools myself, and I am grateful if I can help other couples blossom, because I know how difficult that is. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah,
All
maybe
right.
a thing that people also should know is that you can take many courses and then you forget, right? You forget, but here you use, like, really, you practice and you embody all the goodies in the program. So you can actually not go back after that. So you should really decide, do you really want this or not? Because you cannot go back, and it's not necessarily fun all the time, but it's definitely worth it. And you will never really lose the tools again, because they are so embodied after these 9 months.
Yeah.
Hey, we didn't talk about parentship. Can you imagine having 8 kids? It's a very big part of the future population on this earth. So taking on the responsibility, not only to ourselves, but also for our kids, is, for me, a very big thing.
Yeah.
So for giving us tools and inspiration.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, as parents, we are role models, we are leaders, and they don't do what we say, they do what we do. So you're right that the more we can become conscious as parents, the better for the kids. They save a lot of time and energy and a lot of leadership courses if they can model a conscious parent. So thank you so much for that as well. All right, so we'll keep in touch. And for all of you who are watching now or later, just keep an eye out for Nille Troels Bech, Bech. You'll see amazing. You already see amazing art from you, Nille. You are a freaking genius. Everything you produce is out of this world. Amazing, really. And on so many levels, it's really gorgeous art, but also the way what happens in your co-creator studio is really worth the trip. I've started to look for the name of your town when I pass by this part of Denmark, because I'm like, there's a lot happening right there. So we need to sign on the highway saying Nille's co-creator studio. I think that's only one missing. And also you, Troels, with all your experience from the football world, the professional football world, 35 years, that's a lot. It's going to be so interesting to see how you are going to put all that experience into play in teamership. Now, making people good at playing each other good. So we will look out for you. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for watching as well.